Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security.
So what does Greenland have? But what it does have buried underneath that ice, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, is a lot of oil, billions of barrels of oil, and trillions of cubic feet of natural gas.
As Donald Trump sets his eyes on acquiring Greenland and even threatens military force, the question arises, exactly how valuable is Greenland? And we're talking about its value in US dollars.
It has rare earth elements that are needed for things in telecommunications, like your cell phones. Right now, we get much of that from China.
It's going to be really something.
Even during his first term, Trump floated the idea of the United States of America buying Greenland from Denmark, like a real estate deal. If Denmark drops its opposition, then how much would Trump be willing to pay for the world's largest island? And even more importantly, is this issue just about national security, as Trump claims? Or about the oil and gas buried under the soil? Or is it about something else entirely?
Even more than oil, even more than gas and rare earth elements, Greenland has ice.
In this edition of HT In Depth, we look at estimations of the monetary value of Greenland, in case Trump succeeds in forcing Denmark to the negotiation table. Soon after his election, Donald Trump revived his idea of the US acquiring Greenland, a semi-autonomous territory part of Denmark. Trump's idea has led to comparisons with US purchasing Alaska in 1867 and the Virgin Islands in 1917. For Alaska, the US had paid less than 2 cents per acre, amounting to $150 million in today's money. Decades later, the US bought the Virgin Islands, which were then called Danish West Indies, from Denmark. America paid $25 million then, which amounts to $657 million in today's money. However, for Greenland, the US may have to shell out an exponentially higher amount. An expert quoted by the New York Times said that Washington may have to pay anywhere from $12.5 to $77 billion. David Barker, a real estate developer and former economist at the New York Fed, made the rough calculation using the Virgin Islands and Alaska as starting points, then adjusting them on nominal change in GDP for the US and Denmark, to account for both inflation and economic growth. However, this figure may change if we stop looking at Greenland for its national security significance, and look at its natural resources. A Financial Times report valued Greenland at $1.1 trillion due to its natural resource wealth.
So what does Greenland have? It doesn't have much people, 57,000. It doesn't have an awful lot of plants. I've been there. It's beautiful if you like white ice. But what it does have buried underneath that ice, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, is a lot of oil, billions of barrels of oil, and trillions of cubic feet of natural gas. And even more important, it has rare earth elements that are needed for things in telecommunications, like your cell phones. Right now, we get much of that from China.
However, the expert quoted by NYT said that the $1.1 trillion valuation may be excessive. This is because the US would not get full benefit of the resources. The government would have to sell drilling and mining rights to companies, which would make bids based on their own profit and loss calculations. It's not just oil or other minerals. Greenland is also becoming increasingly important as the climate change crisis worsens.
Even more than oil, even more than gas and rare earth elements, Greenland has ice. Lots and lots of ice. A ridiculous amount of ice, one climate scientist told me. How much ice? It has more than 2,500 trillion tons of ice. It's losing more than 200, 300 tons of ice each year as it melts. And it's melting faster almost every year. And what happens is that's bad news for the rest of the planet. And even though you don't realize it, Greenland is determining your future climate, and your current weather.
For now, it appears that Denmark is not receptive to any of Trump's offers.
Debatten om grønlandsk selvstændighed og de seneste udmeldinger fra USA, det vidner om endog meget stor interesse for Grønland. Begivenheder, som jeg tror har sat gang i både tanker og følelser hos mange i Grønland og her i Danmark. USA er vores tætteste og nærmeste allierede, og fra vores side vil vi gøre alt, hvad vi kan for at fortsætte at have et tæt samarbejde. Vi skal stå sammen europæisk, og vi skal stå sammen transatlantisk. Og derfor er det sådan set også positivt med en stigende amerikansk interesse, hvad angår Grønland. Så vil jeg gerne slå fast, at det er i vores øjne en beslutning, der starter og slutter i Nuuk og i Grønland. Grønland er grønlændernes, ingen andres. Mutti, du har været meget klar i dine ord. Det er Grønland, der selv skal definere jeres fremtid. Det har vi meget, meget stor respekt for fra dansk side, og det vil jeg egentlig gerne opfordre til, at alle har.
But Trump is also not backing down, even escalating his threat.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
Your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal. So can you explore the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? So what is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security.
Donald Trump is a real estate mogul turned politician, but it remains to be seen if or how he closes this deal.